It's kinda crazy to know that an entire year has almost passed since we saw the announcement of the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 6 Plus. We're also at that point of the year where we basically know everything that there is to know about the next generation iPhone. So today we're taking a look at a rumored overview of the iPhone 6s. Let's start by talking about the internals of the iPhone 6s. As with every new iPhone, we can always expect to see a faster and improved processor in many ways. So with this iPhone 6s, we are expecting to see an A9 chip, as well as a new and improved M9 motion coprocessor. It just makes sense. Every year we get a faster processor, so I'm sure we're going to see the same with the iPhone 6s. However, there is going to be one huge internal improvement that is rumored to happen with the iPhone 6s, and that is that we might be seeing an additional gig of RAM. Now, having 2GB of RAM in the iPhone 6s would make a noticeable difference because the iPad Air 2 has 2GB of RAM, and I can definitely notice that using iOS feels incredibly snappy. It's not just, oh, that loads 0.12 seconds faster like maybe a faster processor will, like the M9 or A9. It's like I don't have to reload that Safari page every single time I go back to Safari. It just makes iOS feel so much faster than before. Let's move on to internal storage space now, because this is always a hot topic of debate. This year, I've seen a few different rumors floating around. Some say that the iPhone 6s will retain that 16GB base model, yet others claim that the iPhone 6s will in fact ship with 32GB as the base storage space model. I just don't know at this point because I want to lead this into another expected feature for the iPhone 6s, and that is the ability to record and shoot 4K video as well as a 12 megapixel camera. So let's go with the option that the iPhone 6s will have the ability to shoot 4K video. With that being said, 4K video at a minimum will take 4 times the amount of storage space required to shoot than 1080p would have taken. So on a 16GB iPhone, we're realistically talking around 5 to maybe 12 minutes of 4K video, and that is if the 16GB iPhone has absolutely nothing on it but iOS and you start shooting 4K video. So that's why I have a really hard time believing that Apple will actually leave 16GB of space as the base variant for the iPhone 6s, because that just isn't enough if the phone can in fact shoot 4K video. However, at the same time, iOS 9 includes features called app thinning and reduces the amount of storage space required to upgrade to iOS 9. So with that being said, if all the stock apps on your iPhone are going to be smaller now with iOS 9, even though they have the same or maybe even more or better features, and iOS 9 requires less space to upgrade, maybe it would make sense that Apple would require 16GB of space as the base model for the iPhone, just looking strictly at what iOS 9 has done to make more space on your phone. Personally though, I would really like to see that 32GB option, and if the iPhone 6s does shoot 4K video, that's what I've got my money on. As for the last few internal changes inside of the iPhone 6s, we're expecting to see a faster and updated cellular chip, of course, to handle faster upload and download speeds over LTE, as well as updated NFC or near field communication technology, because supposedly the NFC technology inside of the iPhone 6 and iPhone 6 Plus was extremely outdated. This will be updated, brand new NFC technology that should make near field communication, things like Apple Pay, work better. So those are some of the internal improvements that we can expect to see on the iPhone 6s, but let's talk about the screen for a second. The iPhone 6s is rumored to contain Force Touch on the screen, meaning that if you do a harder touch on the screen rather than just a normal tap, you're going to have the ability to perform more actions or do more things, see more options that weren't on the screen before you did that harder press. And we can actually see this in action right now on the Apple Watch. So here's a quick demonstration of how Force Touch works. If you launch up an application, you can do normal taps like you could on I think every iOS device ever created. You can tap on things like normal, nothing there is going to change. But watch what happens when I do a Force Touch right now in the main portion of the Twitter app. It brings up a new page or a pop-up dialog that says Tweet. And from here I can now press another button that gives me the option to perform an action that just wasn't present on the screen before I did that Force Touch. So far, I've had a great experience of using Force Touch on my Apple Watch, and I can't wait to see how it works on my iPhone. And finally, let's talk about some aesthetics. So the iPhone 6s, as with any S model like the iPhone 4s or even the iPhone 5s, is going to remain nearly identical to the previous generation. So right here's an iPhone 6. This is nearly identical to what the iPhone 6s is going to look like when it's released. Now there will be some very slight design tweaks. Sources say that the iPhone 6s will be indecipherably, or you wouldn't be able to tell that it's slightly taller, slightly wider, and slightly thicker. But they're saying that it might be just a little bit thicker because of the Force Touch screen, which would make sense because there is some added technology going into the screen with the iPhone 6s. And there's also said to be a new color option. As you know, you can buy the Apple Watch in two different shades of gold, the standard gold or rose gold. And based on what some sources have indicated, that rose gold color option may just be available on the new iPhone. And that's a rumored overview of what we can expect to see on the iPhone 6s. And as of right now, it's shaping out to be a pretty major upgrade. Force Touch looks to be the headlining feature along with 2GB of RAM, 12 megapixel camera along with possibly 4K video, maybe more internal space, a faster LTE chip, updated NFC, and of course a faster A9 processor with an M9 Motion coprocessor. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to drop a like down below. Let's see if we can hit 250 likes on this video. I'm feeling the likes today. And of course, for loads more content on the iPhone 6s when it's released, make sure you subscribe because I will be covering all that good stuff for you guys here on my channel. This has been Sam with iUpdateOS. Hope you guys had a great day, and I will talk to you in my next video.